Hello everybody, and welcome to the New Health Conversation podcast. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I started the New Health Conversation a number of years ago because I surely think we need one. What we're going to talk with you about today, well, number one, why would you even want to pay any attention to be on this podcast today? The reason is that we're the only ones that I can determine, and I look at a lot of sites across social media. There's no other people that have any medical proof at all. You're following people, with all due respect, medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists. And basically they're all telling you the same thing, that the only way to lose weight is calories in, calories out. It's been completely debunked. It doesn't work. There's a huge missing component of calories in, calories out, and that is the human body doesn't even know what a calorie is. The only thing the body cares about is nutrition. We're going to teach you that today. We're also going to expose you to 10 new peer-reviewed human trial studies published in the last year by the top weight loss researchers in the world, who don't have a product to sell. They don't have a company. They have no agenda. They're researchers for 38 years, 100 studies on diets. And they came up with a new protocol where men and women, this sounds crazy, lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. So Carol, how excited would you be if you could lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet? How about losing as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of dieting? How about losing as much weight in a month as a year on diets, lose no water weight, and gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass? And that's really the least important part of this whole reason you should be interested. Down at the bottom, we put for you the New Health Conversation. It's a free website. It only has medical proof. There's nothing to buy there. We won't contact you if you go there. We put the controls in your hands. We believe so strongly that the science is going to convince you that you're going to want to learn more. And if that's the case, then after you look at all the scientific proof for free, you can scroll down and sign up for a free personal consultation. And I mean free. It's 100% free. There's no gimmicks. There's no tricks. It's absolutely free. Now, the idea here is that we're going to be able to expose you with medical proof to this new, it's going to obsolete every diet out there. I don't care whatever diet any of you have ever been on, and you can let me know what diet you have been on. But again, why in the world would you go on diets where it would take you 8 weeks to lose weight in the most unhealthy weight on the planet is by lowering calories? It does two horrible things to us. Number one, the body doesn't even know what a calorie is. So what happens on diets is this. You have a minimum, you have Love 3M Maria. The reason diets don't work, it's really pretty simple. The body runs on a minimum amount of nutrition. When you go on a diet, all you're doing is lowering the amount of food you're consuming, but you're also lowering nutrition. Now, they're not telling you that. And when that happens, the brain, when it knows there's not enough nutrition, code word fuel, it absolutely shuts down fat burning, converts your muscles into carbohydrates for fuel, and does two of the most unhealthy things to you on the planet. One, yes, it slows down your metabolism, but that's not the worst thing that it does. The other thing it does, it actually interferes with your own immune system. Again, why in the world are you counting calories? Calories in, calories out. Total utter nonsense. I know I get big pushback when I do this, but they're giving me opinions. They don't have any medical facts, because the medical facts now are in my favor. Here's Harvard Medical School saying, stop counting calories. This is Harvard Medical School. Listen to what they said. Most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories specific 3,500 and you lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They go on to say, Harvard Medical School, this idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to take a different approach by concentrating on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. Okay, here's another big study saying why you shouldn't count calories. Remember, I'm not giving you an opinion. And for all the naysayers out there that want to attack me, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and calories in, calories out is the only way to lose. Really? If calories in and calories weight loss is such a great deal, how in the heck do we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, and 50% pre-diabetic? Please tell me that. But listen to what they said in this study, why you shouldn't count calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse is 2/3 of people who restrict or lower their calories gain back more weight than they lost. So to all the naysayers, shh, quiet. It doesn't work. Counting calories in, calories out is obsolete. It doesn't work. It's a complete and utter disaster. It gets even worse. Right here is a study from Johns Hopkins Medical School. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese. Does that sound like a system that's working? Do you all agree we have more diets than ever? Do you know how bad it's getting? In the 60s, 60, let's say 65 years ago, the number of people overweight and obese in this country was about 5%. Now it's 80% as we sit here today. That's a 1,600% increase. Do any of you think diets actually work? I mean, really? Do you really think that? It's not a product, okay? Let me explain this to you, Carol. That's a great question, okay? What the researchers did is, after 38 years, 100 studies, they figured out what didn't work. What didn't work was putting people on diets, lowering the amount of food, and ignoring nutrition. So their theory was, so take your grocery list for the month, whatever you're spending on groceries. Take 30% of that you're going to buy from the grocery store, proteins, fats, carbs, etc. We'll give you a list. But the other 70% goes from 5 foods that come from around the world. They come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. Now, why was that important? Because those 5 foods made up what the researchers call the world's most perfect meals. Now, the researchers don't sell them to you. We don't sell them to you. You buy those directly from the other supplier. Most people feel that 30% of whatever they're spending on food now, when they take 30% and go to the grocery store with the list, and then the other 70% for these other 5 foods, they're spending about what they're spending now. But there's a major difference. You're getting massive amounts of nutrition. Now, that wasn't the end of the story. So the researchers now had 30% from the grocery store, 70. Now, again, they don't have a product. They don't have a company. They don't sell anything. We're not selling you anything. But those other 5 foods become part of what you're going to consume in a month anyway. You have to eat, right? So my point is that now they had the ingredients, but they didn't have the recipe per se. So they invented 2 completely different ways of consuming food. 5 days a week, you do something called protein pacing. On those days, you have 4 meals a day. You start with the world's most perfect meal for breakfast. You have a lunch from the grocery store, a 3rd meal from the grocery store, and a 4th meal, the world's most perfect meal. I know it's completely opposite of diets. Get that out of your mind. This isn't a diet. 2 days a week, they had people do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these 5 foods, the world's most perfect meals, 4 times a day, about every 3 hours. And what were the results? Well, the researchers were shocked because after 7 days, the people on this, remember, this is a theory. This isn't a company. This isn't paleo or keto or Mediterranean or anything, whatever you want to say. So the bottom line is that on the 8th morning when people weighed in, they had lost as much weight in the first week as in 8 weeks of any diet ever studied by, and these are the top weight loss researchers in the world. They were stunned because they didn't know what was going to happen. They had a theory, but it was just a theory. Also, women lost a whole dress size in 7 days. Men lost 2 to 4 inches off their waist in a week. In a month, people lost as much weight as a year on diets, lost no water weight, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. But the other amazing thing about this, these studies were started about 6 years ago. They take a lot of time and a lot of money. And those people that have lost their weight on this, they've kept it off now for 6 years. I lost 40 pounds 22 years ago in 7 weeks. I've kept it off for 22 years. That's why this is going to make every diet obsolete. Our goal in the program, the researchers call it R2M, Race to Maintenance. So the idea is to get you to your goal 8, 10, 12 times faster than any diet you've ever been on. That's the end of the beginning. The key is, how do we teach you how to maintain it? In other words, moving forward once you got to your goal. I mean, I know it sounds too good to be true. I do this all the time and I get tremendous pushback and people get on and get off. They think, oh, it's one of those things. No, it's not one of those things. There's no other, whether it's paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, any of these things that have ever initiated their own peer-reviewed human trial studies. Any of the studies that have been done on them were done independently by the big medical journals, like the New England Journal of Medicine. Let me quote another one here for you. So this is a 12-month study done by the New England Journal of Medicine. They took one group of people who just lowered calories, the standard diet you're used to. The other group of people did this time-restricted eating, one of the most overrated things on the planet, where the people only ate 16 hours. I'm sorry, they fasted for 16 and ate for 8 hours a day. Code word, you're getting less food. At the end of 12 months, the people who just lowered calories lost 16 pounds in a year. And the people who did time restricted eating did even worse. They only lost 12.6 pounds in a year. And they said in the study, both those going with lower calories and those doing time restricted eating, up to 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. This is what's happening. You can believe all the influence you want on planet Earth. They got no proof. They show you before and afters. And I can address this because for 20 of my 22 years, that's what I had available. Before and after pictures, they don't mean anything in the medical world. Nothing, zero. These studies are going to obsolete every single diet out there. There'll be anybody that looks at these studies, and you can see the actual studies on the New Health Conversation. There's even an interview with the #1 weight loss researcher in the world for 38 years. He and his scientists are the ones that invented this. Let's go over it again. They don't have a product to sell. They don't have a company. They're scientists. They've been chasing the silver bullet for weight loss and obesity for 38 years. They found it, and they get the medical proof. These are published in some of the biggest medical journals in the world, like the Obesity Journal, like the Nutrition Journal, and one just published in the last a few months in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. I'm not making up anything. A lot of times people, they want to argue with me. Well, you can't argue with peer-reviewed human trial studies. They've already been reviewed by the top medical doctors and scientists in the entire world. I know this is shocking. I know you're skeptical. But can you really take a chance to not see the medical proof? Because the medical proof is going to bear out everything I'm saying, as skeptical as you might be. Again, let me ask you something. Why in the world would you go on a diet, calories in, calories out, that would take you 8 weeks to lose the most unhealthy weight you could ever lose, because you're losing your lean muscle? About 40% of what you're going to lose is your lean muscle mass, slowing down your metabolism and slowing down your own immune system, versus this new protocol where men and women lost in 7 days what took 8 weeks on diets, and lost as much weight in a month as a year, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I know it sounds, almost unbelievable, but it's not. And you can see the medical proof. There are before and afters there that if I showed them on here, they would ban me. I'm serious. There are people, men and women, and they lost 100 pounds. They have no loose skin at all. So Love or Julie or Audrey, how excited would any of you be if you really could lose as much weight in a week as 8 weeks? Oh, by the way, no one was allowed to exercise. Let's put that in there. Now, it wasn't that the researchers were against exercise, but they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. And I'm suspicious that a lot of people now are jumping on my podcast thinking about, January 2nd, New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose weight. Here's the thing. Yeah, you're going to lose weight on any diet out there, but you're going to gain it all back, not because I say so. Here's this big report, why you shouldn't count calories, why you should not count calories. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse, they said, is 2/3 of people who they track who lower calories gain back more weight than they lost. Are you excited about going on a diet January 2nd to gain weight? Or at least 2/3 of you? Look, somebody has to stand up for all of us and say, stop the madness. Why are we counting calories? It does not work. Mainly because the human body doesn't even know what a calorie is. The only thing your body cares about is nutrition. And sadly, our food in North America, even if you do organic, is becoming almost nutritionally bankrupt. The nutrients have crashed. Yeah, we're producing these huge quantities. So what are the food manufacturers doing? They're putting chemicals in our food instead of nutrition. That's what's going on. See, when you're hungry, you're not hungry for more calories. You're hungry for more nutrition. I mean, I'd love for anybody to put in the comments. Does this make sense to all of you? So whether it's Love or Julie or Audrey, again, I know it sounds like I'm making this up. Would any of you be unhappy if you could lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of a diet, lose a whole dress size in a week with no exercise, go on to lose as much weight in a month as a year, lose no water weight and gain 6 to 9%? And here's the crazy part. That's the least important reason to do this. People's blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically in 30 days. But here's the one that really gets people. Hunger came down in 30 days for the people on this by 41%. Next thing, inflammation, the underlying cause of every disease out there, and those minor aches and pains, etc., that you have, that in 30 days went down by 25%. That had never been seen on the planet. No diet's ever produced anything like this. And it gets better. The other thing that's interfering and why we have so many people overweight is because of this medical syndrome called TDOS. The T is for toxicity, the D is for deficiency, the O is for being overweight, and the S is for stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. It's recognized as a new medical condition that I have and you have. What does it mean in English? We're drinking and breathing and eating chemicals whether you know it or not. And your body and the brain, to protect us, takes those chemicals and stuffs them in what's called our visceral fat. That's the fat wrapped around our organs. And in the medical studies, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving that this protocol, first and foremost, was assisting the body in doing what? Removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and flame. Did you see the thing on Starbucks coffee about 3 months ago? In each cup, you're getting 25,000 microplastics in each cup of coffee? How are we doing? These studies prove they were even removing what are called phthalates, which is the part that makes the plastic pliable. It's really the bad, one of the bad things of ingesting, plastic. But this is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Which influences are telling you this? They give you this simple story. We're going to show, well, here's a recipe to cut 300 calories a day. Really? Well, what's that going to do? Nothing. Did they ever happen to measure the nutrition in the food they're going to have you eat in that recipe? I've never seen it. They make it sound so simplistic. Oh, don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8, and majority of what you lose is fat. Total nonsense. Not backed up by science. Because the study, which I just stated before, the Journal of the American Medical Association, they did a 3-month study on this time-restricted eating. They said the new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast for 16 hours daily gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost a total of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the majority of what they lost was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. Are they telling you that? Would you do time-restricted eating to lose 2 to 3 pounds in 3 months? And have most of what you lost was your lean muscle, not fat? Do you see how nuts this whole thing is? Or is it just me? I guess maybe I'm crazy. But the pushback, it's like a cult that people have just so bought into this calories in, calories out. It's almost like a religion. But it doesn't work. It can't work because I'll give you a good example. If it was just about mathematics, okay? Just about lowering calories. Calories in, calories out. That's what they're telling you. Okay, let's go down to, say, 1,500 calories a day, all right? Pretty extreme caloric reduction. Behind door number 1 is 1,500 calories, lean chicken, fish, salads, etc. Remember, they're telling you it's only about the math. Behind door number 2, the 1,500 calories, 3 bags of M&Ms. Do you see the nuts part of this thing? Craziness? There's no doubt that you think you're doing calories in, calories out. What you're doing is you're reducing the amount of nutrition available to your body, and it freaks out and goes in starvation mode, prevents you from burning fat, and turns your muscles into fuel. Does that sound good to you? That's exactly what's happening. I don't care what the heck the diet is. So your diet, instead of it doing something for you, it's doing something to you. Does that sound good, or does that sound pretty bad? I mean, the thing is that all you have to do, go to Walmart, go to Kmart, go to Costco, and look at America. Look at a picture of people on the beach in 1970, and then look at a picture from, this year. It's not their fault, and I can speak to this with great authority. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I loved her. She was awesome. I lived through the fat shaming. I hope none of you are having to experience that. But I know it's going on. It's not your fault. The reason you can't lose weight is not because you don't have the desire. It's not that it's not possible. You have the wrong approach. Do you get that? It's never going to work. Calories in, calories out is never going to work long term. Not because I say so, because all the medical studies are proving that now. In study after study, when they analyze, up to 40% of what people are losing on these diets is lean muscle mass. And by definition, your brain will slow down your metabolism. So you come off the diet and you gain all your weight back because you can't burn as much fuel. It's maddening in a sense. I'm doing anywhere from 3 to 4 of these podcasts a day because the need is so dramatic. So dramatic. And the thing is that It's not just you, but how many of your friends? Look, if we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, do you think that maybe people have a right to have? What we're doing is providing you with a free, safe site to go to. If you go to the site, the New Health Conversation, we're not going to contact you. No, I'm serious. We don't do that. We're scientists. We give you upfront, totally transparent. We show you all the medical proof. Then once you've seen that, you can scroll down and sign up for a free consultation with one of our coaches. It is free. I get people all the time putting in the chat and they go, "How much is the free consultation?" I go, "Oh my gosh, are we that skeptical?" I guess we are. But the bottom line is that people have a right to the knowledge. What you do with it, that's up to you. Because we're not there to convince you. But hopefully you'll convince yourself. Are you kind of sick and tired of either being sick and tired of being overweight and just almost ready to give up because you've tried so many things and none of it? You have to understand they can't work. You can't go against the survival mode in the human body. When the body doesn't have enough nutrition, it goes in survival mode and it goes into preservation. They don't want to go into extinction. Am I making sense? Please let me know. Ask me questions, whatever you want to do. This is for all of you. But the key is, if you go to the website, there's an interview with the #1 weight loss, nutrition, physiologist in the world for 38 years. He's the head scientist who he and his colleagues invented this. But they don't sell anything. They don't have any products. What they did was they figured out the reason diets would always fail. And I did write the definitive book, a bestseller, came out in 2010 called Why Diets Are Failing Us, with a major medical doctor. All my books I've written with medical doctors. And the point is that our premise is, why are we counting calories instead of making every calorie count? Code word nutrition. I think you're going to see a major change in the next couple of years where the labels on food are going to, the calorie doesn't mean anything. It's a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. I know some people say, oh, well, that's, no, the only thing that matters is nutrition. So let's get that out of the way. Let's stop this argument about calories in, calories out, and ignoring what's in the calorie. That's complete nonsense. That's what Harvard Medical School said. That's what all these studies are saying now. All the major people said we were completely wrong about calories in, calories out, that a deficit is a way to lose weight. It's nuts. It's crazy. Your body, when you don't have enough nutrition, it will go into starvation mode. I don't care what you do, exercise, sweat, run. I see these people coming to the gym on the treadmills and the Stairmaster. They don't lose an ounce. They don't lose anything. This is going to obsolete every diet out there. And you can access the knowledge for free. We're not charging anything to go to the website. It's totally free. And we don't give you opinions. We don't give you, we don't make claims. We show you medical proof. If you're really serious about losing weight or not, but who else is offering you this kind of an option? Oh, and by the way, I didn't even tell you that the foods that you would buy, 30% from your grocery store and 70% from the foods around the world, the suppliers who supply the 70% of the food you're going to buy, they give you 100% money back guarantee in the first 30 days. Are they doing that with time-restricted eating? Oh, it's nonsense. It's sad. Because my mother, when she called me up 23 years ago and said, you know, Peter, I have one wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything to spend one day thin. I said, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. The reason I'm so adamant about this, I'll be honest, I hate diets. I saw my mom do every diet that was available. I mean, she would cut diets out of National Enquirer. I'd see her lose 20 pounds, gain 25 back, over and over and over again. I mean, her willpower was amazing because she'd go, 2 or 3 months and lose, 15, 20 pounds and gain it back like in 2 weeks. Because willpower doesn't work. You're asking your body, you're denying your body the nutrition that it needs. So the key is not the quantity of what you're consuming. The key is the quality of what you're consuming. Does that make sense to everybody? And the problem with what we're doing is that we're all relying on this white noise, this talk. Calories in, calories out does not work. It's not up for debate. And people tell me up and they give me all these theories. But always when I ask them, I say, okay, where's your medical proof about this? And they'll quote there's a new one now, I think it's called PIMD. And they said, oh, well, this refutes everything you're saying. First thing I said is, do they have peer-reviewed human trial studies? No, they have a scientific paper. That means zero in the medical world. Okay, let's just start with that. If any of these protocols were worth their salt, were worth anything, they'd have peer-reviewed human trial studies. Why? Because it's the highest you can go in medical examination. But whether it's Ann or Rocco, we're talking about you being able to lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. Women lose a whole dress size in 7 days, and men lose 2 to 4 inches off their waist. And in a month, they lost as much weight as a year on diets, lost no water weight, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass despite not being able to exercise. I know it sounds too good to be true. I do it all the time, and people, I know that I really ruffle feathers, but somebody has to do it. This pretending that somehow calories in, calories out works with 80% of America overweight and 50% obese and 50% pre-diabetic, get a grip. Go to Barnes and Noble. There's so many people that are involved in this whole diet myth, I guess is the only way to think about it. I mean, Johns Hopkins Medical School is now saying study predicts obesity apocalypse. Apocalypse by 2030 in 5 years, 86% of America is going to be overweight or obese. Does anyone, I mean, honestly, I'd love for anybody to put in the chat. Does that sound like diets work to you? And I know the majority of you'll follow those influencers. Some of them got 10 million followers. There's doctors and chiropractors and people with all these fancy titles. They don't have one shred of medical proof of all the things they're telling you. They're showing you supplements and this, and it's going to do this for the gene. There's no proof. They don't have any medical proof. It's an opinion. And the last time I checked, an opinion is not a fact. But you all have a choice. You can go right down there at the bottom. You can see the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. We won't contact you if you go there. And you can see the medical proof or not. Why would you believe somebody? I don't want you to believe me. I'm serious. I'm the researcher of the researchers. But we're bringing you the irrefutable medical proof. That's what we rest on. It's not our opinion. There are 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies that have basically made every diet you've ever heard of obsolete, totally obsolete. And what do we keep doing? We keep counting calories and we keep waiting, all they do is change the names of these damn things. So it's paleo 1 week, it's keto the next. Now it's this big rage. You don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8. Or even the shots, which I'm not against, by the way. But let me give you the reality check on the shots, okay? So they're helping people with type 2 diabetes. As a matter of fact, people with type 2 diabetes need these drugs. And people that are morbidly obese. But what's the real result? The real result is the New England Journal of Medicine. You can go and look this up. You don't have to believe me, right? The New England Journal of Medicine did a 68-week study on semaglutide, okay? A year and 4 months. So after 16 months, the average weight loss was 32 pounds in 68 weeks. And right in the study, it said of the 32 pounds, 40% was lean muscle mass. Why do you care about that? Because every person that's going on the shot is losing lean muscle mass. And the people coming off the diet, when they stop the shot, they're gaining as much as a half a pound a day because it works, because it slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. Code word, you're consuming less food. All these, see, that's why they all fail in the long run. I mean, people in these peer-reviewed studies, they lost 32 pounds in let's say maximum 2 months. Actually, less than that. But that isn't the point. And I'm not saying don't do the shot. For some people, if they need that, but understand you're probably going to be on that shot for the rest of your life. And we really don't know the long-term outcomes of those shots yet because they haven't really been around that long, So you have an incredible opportunity if you seize the opportunity. How important is your health to you? Isn't your health your wealth? Why are you basically you're turning over your health to someone giving you an opinion? Is that a smart strategy? I mean, you can be in a position where in a week's time you could be you won't even believe where you probably will be. And we work with people that weigh up to 600 pounds, so it's not like but the idea is that we're not the researchers who had studied every kind of calorie in, calorie out for 38 years, over 100 studies, thousands and thousands of people. They never saw a diet where people weren't losing up to 40% of their lean muscle mass, and as a result, they all gained back all their weight and more. They've been looking for this for 38 years. And so these studies, they validated what the researchers thought was a theory that they proved worked. The researchers didn't know this was going to work. Because keep in mind, they don't have a product. They don't have anything to sell you. What they did do, they re-examined the food we were consuming and looked at it in a different light. Like, okay, can we lower the amount of food you're consuming, but not lower the amount of nutrition? They did it by limiting 30% of the food you would buy from the grocery store. The other 70%, you'd buy it from these suppliers who had supplied foods from all over the world, from Russia, Mongolia, from Tibet, the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to create what's called the world's most perfect meals. And then they created 2 new ways of consuming the food. This is really important. So it's not just the ingredients, it's now let's call it the recipe, for lack of a better term. What they did, they created 2 new ways of consuming food. One's called protein pacing, where 5 days a week you have 4 meals a day. What? Yeah, 4 meals a day. You start your day with the world's most perfect meal, lunch from the grocery list, a third meal from the grocery list, and then your fourth meal, again, the world's most perfect meal, 5 days a week. 2 days a week, they had them do something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, not this time-restricted eating nonsense, okay? They did this, had 4 meals a day of the world's most perfect meals. So they were fasting, but with nutrition. Because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Let me give you another example if you could do this. So let's say today you went to the gas station and there were only 2 pumps. The pump on the left says $3.50 a gallon. This gallon will take you 20 miles. The pump on the right says this gas is $4 a gallon, but it'll take you 100 miles on 1 gallon of gas. That's what we're talking about when we're fueling the body with nutritional density. It has nothing to do with the quantity. It only has to do with the quality. So the most important thing that you can do for yourself is go down and look at the New Health Conversation, the website. You can go there for free. There's nothing to buy. There's no tricks. There's no gimmicks. It's just available to you to see the medical proof. And if you like what you see, then you can literally scroll down and sign up for a free personal consultation with one of our coaches. I don't know why you wouldn't do that unless you think we're lying. I'm lying to you, which I'm not. But you can go to the website. No one's going to contact you. Absolutely won't contact you. But don't you owe it to yourself to at least investigate, to at least take a look? Isn't that really important? You know? So anyway, to make a long story short, I hope you will take some time and go to the New Health Conversation and see the medical proof for yourself. Okay? So Love 3Ms or Sharon J. I really invite you to go and do that. And if you like what you see, by the way, the coaching is free the whole way through. It's not like a trick, like, okay, we do a free personal analysis with you, and then you start, and then, oh, you got to pay for coaching. No, the coaching's 100% free. And like I said, this protocol, it basically is 100% guaranteed, because the amount of food you're actually buying from the grocery store is pretty small compared to the overall food that you're going to get. And you're going to spend about what you're spending now on regular food. I know it sounds too good to be true. But I'd love for anybody, before we close this out, if you want to put it in the comments, a diet you think works. None of them work. None long term, based on the evidence, okay? So I'm going to sign off now. I want to thank all of you for being on this podcast. And I'm normally doing anywhere from 2 to 4 of these a day because there's so many people that need this. And I really always believe if there's just one of you that I can make a difference in your life by sharing this knowledge, not by selling you, not by convincing you. We don't need to do that. So anyway, I'm hoping that you will take the time to go and look at the free information, and if you like, sign up for free consultation. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day.